Okay, so it looks like people are starting to trickle in. Um, Thank you everyone for joining us today. My name is Nicole. I am a marketing manager at WebScribble, and a couple of like housekeeping items. We are going to be utilizing the Zoom chat feature for all things, all questions. As well as just some banter back and forth. Feel free to kind of drop your LinkedIn URL if you would like to use this as like a networking opportunity. And just overall collaboration is definitely encouraged. And so I will pass this along to our speakers. And one other thing, this is for CAE credit. So we will be sending an email following today's live session that will serve as kind of like a proof of attendance of today's session that you can use later on when actually, looking for and trying to service our webinar's title for CAE credit. And as always, if you need anything in the future regarding that CAE credit, feel free to reach out to any of us. And so without further ado, I will hand it over to Alexander as well as Josh Slyman.
Hello, everybody. Thanks so much for being here. I'm Josh Slyman, Director of Product Strategy here at WebScribble. I'll be sort of your host for today's session. We're really lucky. Along for the ride with us today is Alexander Guten. He's our president, co-founder, and ultimately a real expert when it comes to the future of employment technology. We're excited, not just because we're talking about AI today, but we're really going to sort of help try to break it down into sort of some real world impacts, how it's reshaping careers, hiring, how your association can help turn AI into a member advantage, and really help our members advance their careers with AI. Plus, we'll be sharing some practical ways that you can integrate AI tools into your career services. Also, thinking about that sort of whole ecosystem. Your LMS, your community, your AMS, and how we can leverage that ecosystem to help members grow and increase your impact as an association. Quick introductions as we get started. Perfect. Thank you. I'm Josh Slyman. My background sort of blends marketing, member engagement, and really helping associations sort of to create an ecosystem that doesn't just serve members, but really helps to advance their careers. Alexander Guten is here with me. As I mentioned, he's president and co-founder of WebScribble. Alexander, you mind introducing yourself?
Thanks for the setup, Josh. Alexander Guten, president and co-founder of WebScribble. We've been working with associations for 10 or 15 years now with their career centers and helping members develop their careers and advance their careers. I oversee the product engineering teams, so I've been very much tracking AI developments in the industry and within our own product, and very excited to have the discussion today.
Awesome. Great. Thank you so much for being with us. All right, so let's talk a little bit about how we'll break things down today. First, we're going to talk about how AI is already reshaping hiring and the job search world, what some of those changes are, and what it might mean for you as an individual on your career path, but also how we can help service members along their career journey. Then we'll dig into some AI tools your members can start using sort of right away, tools that support the journey from resumes to interviews. And then finally, we'll leave you with a few next steps, help modernize, maybe take a fresh look at your career center, how AI might be be able to be leveraged as sort of a major value driver, member benefit for you and your association. Quick note, just as Nicole mentioned, this is CAA eligible, so you'll grab an email today. And then if you'd like to utilize the chat or anything for questions while we're doing this, feel free, go ahead. We're excited to chat about AI today. All right, so let's get started. So I think this first point is really pretty eye-opening. So AI it really isn't something that's sort of coming to hiring. It really is definitely here. 90% of large corporations are using AI to screen resumes long before they ever see a human's eye. Alexander, I know you've spent a lot of time thinking about AI and employment. Maybe you can share a little bit about how it's being utilized to, analyze resumes or look at applicants.
Yeah, absolutely. So one thing that I think a lot of candidates and members who are in the job market don't realize is what the process looks like in the background on the hiring side for the employers. And most companies, and certainly all major large companies, use technology in the background to screen candidates and manage them. And they use a system called an applicant tracking system. And that system takes in those candidates and ranks them and screens them so that recruiters are spending the right time, the time on the right candidates. But what they might not realize what's happening in the background is there's already for years now been some kind of filtering system, but now with AI there's even more, and a lot of things happen kind of in the background where where a candidate might get screened out by an AI type system using algorithms based on certain criteria that the recruiter sets. And if you don't match what they're looking for, or the member doesn't, the member might not ever make it to the screen of the recruiter to look at. And it's part of one of the things that we've seen growing is skills first hiring. So employers are using AI to evaluate resumes, not just for job titles, but for actual skills and experiences that they tie to outcomes in those in their resumes. So that's just a little bit of the shift, but we're going to definitely dive in deeper on this as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And in terms of professional development, which I know is a big piece of associations and a lot of times of what they bring, this also presents a bit of a shift. Job seekers, members, they're putting a huge effort into these resumes and their cover letters, and but unless they're accounting for that AI gatekeeper, they might not be getting nearly the visibility that they think. And helping members understand AI, helping how it impacts on their career path, how employers are using it to make decisions. Like suddenly that's part of this discussion, whether through our webinars or our resume review events, or even tools integrated right into your career center. They think that's where a lot of this value comes in not only using AI within our ecosystem, but also educating our members and our job seekers how they can best leverage AI for their benefit. So I want to offer some quick wins along the way here. So just a thought, as we're talking through this, one of those places, you probably have things like career newsletters or career articles or sort of a career section, right? Adding AI optimization tips, right, to some of those resources that you already have. That's a great way to give members a competitive edge, but also to start this conversation about AI and how it impacts careers, because ultimately this is a transition, and I think we need to bring that into the conversation. All right, let's maybe dig a little bit deeper into a few of the key ways AI is changing hiring. One of the things I think we all hear quite a bit about is, this idea of automated resume screening, right? Alexander just touched on it, but ultimately that means that, there's some changes maybe in what a resume looks like, right? It's no longer just about having that quote unquote good job history or that good resume. Right now, we're also trying to match it exactly to those individual job descriptions. And so job seekers are using AI resume tools to help tailor their resumes. It allows them to do this much more quickly. You can use those tools to create multiple versions in order to speak directly to individual roles. And those tools really help by offering suggestions, customizations, revisions. And I think these are some of the most impactful tools, at least at that stage one in the career path and career search, that this can certainly impact and be more effective for members and job seekers. Another thing we're hearing a lot about is, and Alexander mentioned it earlier, this idea of skill-based hiring, that aligning skills to the individual roles, and how that impacts search and visibility for the member themselves. Alexander, I think this trend really is supported by professional development, right? Like associations have the opportunity to sort of support this with those professional development opportunities.
Yeah, absolutely. And so, of course, people's degrees still matter, but employers are really, when they're looking at a candidate these days, they're like really trying to understand what can you actually do, how did you get there, how did you get here, and what has your success been in the past. And one benefit of the technology advancements on the employer side is it allows them to do this a lot faster. And it positions the association as a resource for members to help them help advance them in that way. So some examples of that are certifications that associations may offer, portfolios that a member can have in either in their professional profile or career center, and even micro credentialing matters more now than it has in the past, and employers see that. Associations also have the authority and with it an opportunity to advance members with short skills-focused learning paths that align with those industry needs that employers have, and to tie into career advancement and opportunity those paths. And so associations are really uniquely positioned to deliver that value and allow a member who then becomes a job seeker and a candidate to employer that applies to an employer to really highlight some of those certifications and learning opportunities that they've gotten from the association to stand out within a flock of many candidates when they apply.
Right. And AI-powered recommendations, job alerts, recruitment, right? This all sort of ties back to the data, and I think this is kind of sort of starts to bring the pieces together a little bit. But so members are getting suggestions based on how they complete, how authentic, how optimized those digital profiles are. So if their their personal career profile is within that digital ecosystem, right? And they're using the wrong keywords, or they haven't updated it in a long time, or they haven't changed the language or their approach to how they market themselves, right? Then they're probably less visible, and they're probably not getting jobs that are quite as targeted or relevant. And I really think that has the potential to impact the individual advancement. So again, sort of another quick tip as we move through here, offering maybe a profile optimization month that follows with some tips and tricks, helping members understand the power of their profile, right? How tuning and maintaining their career center profiles really helps to make sure that they are matching AI and they're using it so that it works in their favor instead of against them. All right. So what does this change actually mean for you and your members? So first, I think, it's important to note that traditional resumes may never actually reach human eyes. And that's why these early interventions, things like the resume optimization tools, they ultimately can really dramatically impact a member's chance in getting through those AI gatekeepers. And we've mentioned this a couple of times as we've been talking so far, but upskilling, right? The ability to identify skills in that next career step having access to those skills, to improving and upskilling, that really becomes, sort of a crucial piece of this puzzle. Alexander, what are you seeing in terms of fastest growing skills, especially sort of in relation to AI as it sort of comes out of into the marketplace?
Yeah, so generally speaking, I think digital skills and data literacy, communication across digital platforms, and the ability to adapt to these new technologies are all must-haves for members. I think, like Josh said at the beginning of the discussion, AI maybe 2 years ago was an up and coming technology, and now it's pretty clear that it's here to stay. And more people are leveraging it every day for both professional and personal life. And I think it's only going to get more and more mature as an industry. And associations that offer curated upskilling to help members get educated and learn these new cutting edge technologies can really help members succeed. And then the association then becomes a partner for the member rather than just kind of a content provider, and really helps advance that relationship with the member.
Yeah, there's not much better than career and sort of really helping to build retention and keep members here long term, especially if they're using and leveraging those internal tools. Which sort of brings me to the next point, which is our members always, they're going to need help adapting, right? Like this is a bit of a transitional change, and it does impact different industries and different careers in different ways. And so, they're definitely going to need some additional educational touch points, some support in how they can bring it into their own sort of work process. And certainly people are feeling overwhelmed, right? It's a lot, it's new. They may or may not realize how much it's already impacting their ability to transition jobs, or what skills jobs are seeking employers are seeking in that next step. So associations again are sort of perfectly positioned as to step in as these trusted guides, help through webinars and workshops, and even like a quick how AI is reshaping your industry blog series, right? Your voice can be the one that really supports them sort of turning that anxiety into something that's actionable and useful. You're trusted, and people, your members look to you for support in these sort of transitional changes. So again, there's another sort of quick idea. We can include AI career skills like a resource hub within that digital ecosystem. Bring together and link some curated courses or articles or webinars about AI and how to leverage it. Just sort of adding that to their access of resources. Frame it as growth and empowerment. And I think ultimately, it's another way to just sort of add additional value, but also acknowledge the shift, and start being sort of forward thinking and progressive, and in how we handle, this new technology. All right, let's take a minute maybe for a little poll. Here we go. So yeah, which of these trends are affecting you, your members the most? I'll give you 30 seconds or so, and um, interested to see what you're hearing out there. Great. Yeah, seeing the results sort of come in here. All right. So definitely seeing a lot of activity around members needing help adapting. I think that's definitely seeing high votes on that, 67%. Traditional resumes, definitely not seeing human eyes. That's definitely a concern. All of these definitely is up and running as well. And then upskilling is, we guess we're not hearing so much about that right now, but I think that's one of these places where there's really some good opportunity is helping to bring some of these upskilling AI opportunities into your regular conversation. I don't know, Alexander, if you can see the results and have any thoughts or comments.
For some reason, I can't see that, but I think you summed it up pretty well. Oh, I see them now. Okay, I just got it. Yeah, so
So,
I think yeah, I think this is not a huge surprise. I think this technology is really new to a lot of people, and inside and outside the association world, everyone's adapting, and there's a lot of things you can do with it. It also is a very, very fast moving technology. One of the benefits of AI in the technology world is it helps technology grow faster. So the companies developing these different AI tools are developing them faster because they're using their own technology to do it. And with that, the reason I point that out is because these things are moving very quickly and things very quickly. AI looks really, really different today than it did a year ago. And I have a very strong suspicion it'll look very, very different and much more advanced a year from today. So keeping up with these trends is tough, but again, to bring it back to our discussion, by keeping up with the trends as the association and providing those insights and education to members, you're going to be doing them a big service.
it's great. Great information. Thanks everybody for participating. It was really fun to see those come in. All right, so we've sort of talked about, we know AI is certainly reshaping hiring and certain parts of employment, but how can we equip members to thrive sort of in this new environment? I think that's where some of these AI enhanced tools come in. And we can walk through some of the technologies that associations can offer or integrate or promote sort of within your career center or your ecosystem. Even if you don't necessarily have a career center, there are bits and pieces here that you can bring into what you're delivering to your members to really expand their ability to leverage AI and opportunities. Alexander, you want to talk maybe about AI matching and how that sort of comes into play across all of this?
Sure. So this one applies in the bucket of those typically that have a career center, but and going back to kind of the expectations that members have and this new technology that's becoming more and more prevalent, having an AI matching system to help curate jobs that are relevant to your members is going to be increasingly important. And the reason is, if you're not delivering on this value, it's going to become kind of table stakes in a job board or a job search experience, because there's companies like Indeed and ZipRecruiter and many others that have been doing this for years now, and it's only getting more advanced. And so AI matching is the process of taking what you know about the member, so things like their job title, where they live, their educational level, their experience level, and then taking those kind of data points, but also taking behavioral data points like what parts of the association that relate to professional development did they access? Did they view jobs? What jobs did they view? All of those things are data points that help build a profile of what who a member is and what they're looking for. So some of it is inputted by them, some of it you gather through their interactions with your tools. And by building that comprehensive profile, you can then curate jobs that are really relevant to them. So instead of just showing them just any job or just maybe the last job that was posted, instead you can really create a much more targeted list of jobs when they're searching and re-rank them to be specific to that member. So it's a much more customized, much more personalized experience for the member, which provides a much better member experience for them. And building this kind of functionality into a modern career center might help a member find their next opportunity faster and give them that edge. And like Josh said, we believe that an association that helps get a member their next job probably has that member for life.
Absolutely. So next is sort of resume reviewers, right? We've talked a little bit about this, so I won't spend a ton of time on it, but using AI to optimize cover letters, resumes, especially per application, or sorry, per job post, aligning keywords, helping to strengthen their messaging, boost that job relevance, or the relevance to that specific job description. I think there's great ways that this tool supports the member early in that job search by allowing them to sort of scale, personalize, and deliver the right product, quote unquote, meaning their resume and cover letter to the ATS or to the employer as a whole. Alexander, maybe discuss interview coaching. I know this is something you're pretty passionate about.
Yeah, sure. So traditionally, a candidate or a member might seek out interview coaching through a professional, and a lot of associations may offer that service or link out to a service that does this, where someone who's like a career coach does the interview coaching interactively, and that's a great resource. But first of all, there's typically a cost to either the member or the association or both. And second, it's not it's not an on-demand thing that you can just do anytime you want. And an AI-based interview coaching approach is kind of a happy medium. While it may not be as perfect as a human, it can still provide a lot of value. And so when a member gets to the interview stage of the hiring process, hopefully through one of your career centers, they might want to prepare for that interview. And using AI, you can do a lot of that preparation. So you can punch in like the job title and description that you are applying for as a member, and you can get all sorts of questions that you might anticipate in that interview. And it might be a first round interview, like a phone screen, or a phone screen interview, first round, second round interview. And you can get different questions and different difficulty levels of questions that you might anticipate for that specific job. And what that does for members, it really helps them come to that interview really prepared, and hopefully not surprised with a question that's totally out of left field. And in addition to coming prepared, if one of your members is not sure about how to answer a particular question, AI can help them with that too. Just like a person, like a real person interview coach, an AI-based coach can do that as well by saying, if you have a particular question you're struggling to answer, it can give you suggestions on how to structure a response that an employer might be looking for. So it's a great way to it's a great tool to give to members through that hiring process without having to involve humans at every step.
Yeah, absolutely. It's and that the the idea that you can sort of customize it by who the employer is, what the role is, and get questions that are quite specific to those roles and or employers, and then also see some suggested answers. I think really helps people better understand the interview process, and what employers are looking for, and I think that's really it's a great advantage. Yeah, one of the other things that I've noticed in some of my poking around the internet and job searching over the years is using salary analysis and having the ability to compare offers or my current salary against industry benchmarks or location data or where I want to go within my career, and it really allows me or members to sort of make a better better, more educated decision on what that next step is, especially if sort of you're comparing two or three offers where, maybe there's some benefits coming into play and things have it's not necessarily just a one-to-one, salary piece. Like there's some other pieces. It really sort of gives you a way to visualize and understand, make those decisions. Alexander, maybe mention, I know we talked a little bit about mentoring and how that uses AI.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, mentoring is becoming more and more important to associations that we talk to every day. So, connecting those early career members who typically are also newer members is really important for both retention purposes, but also developing their career and really providing that value to the member early on in their membership, and connecting them with a later stage career member. It can be really valuable for them. They can educate that early career member not just on career related information, but also of how to take advantage of the benefits that the association offers to help them get there. But traditionally, that can be a pretty cumbersome process for both the member and the association. It can be a really manual process where we hear pretty often where that this is like a manually run process that combines spreadsheet surveys and a whole lot of elbow grease from someone in membership or maybe marketing to get this thing off the road. And AI is a really really good technology to leverage to fix some of these things. And particularly in terms of matching the mentor and mentee is a really great place to think about using AI, because you should already know as through your data collection process a lot about the member and a lot about both members, both the mentor and mentee, and you can use AI to do that matching. So just kind of like we talked about job matching at the beginning of this conversation, or the beginning of this slide, the same kind of concept can really be applied to mentoring as well, where you can use AI to match what people are looking for in terms of their career development preferences, of like something as simple as like time of day that they want to meet, or what they want to get out of the program. Instead of doing all that manually and sometimes imperfectly and very, very slowly, AI can do that basically instantly. And so it's a really, really powerful tool to leverage to help grow that mentor program, and makes it a lot more scalable for the association as well. You can get more members into a mentor program if it's not so much work for the person in your association that's responsible for that.
That's great. That makes a ton of sense, and I've heard that a lot from associations, right? That the troublesome part of that can a lot of times be making the right connections. And again, I think these are all great and amazing tools, and I know they can be somewhat spread out across your ecoscape, or maybe you're using them from different vendors. I think there's another opportunity sort of to bring all of these places into a career success toolkit, maybe a page on your main website or within your online community that, again, just sort of brings together the tools that are related, some learning opportunities, some career opportunities, maybe some mentoring opportunities, right? And really sort of have a one single place that you can send members or potential members to really get into that next step with your career center. All right. Let's talk a little bit about personal professional branding and how we can help members and ourselves maximize your individual talent profiles, regardless of platform. In an AI sort of driven hiring world, like that online presence is very often your first impression. And part of the benefit of the association membership is ultimately it's not always just what shows up, but how and where you show up. And so, especially within these dedicated professional communities where members are actively educated and certified, it really adds a lot of value in terms of professional branding.
Yeah, and to piggyback off of what Josh is saying, today a sparse or generic profile um, simply won't be relevant or picked up by AI-driven searches in many cases, or even by human recruiters using filtering tools. So having a really comprehensive and robust profile is really important. And there's great tools out there like LinkedIn that are important, but LinkedIn is a crowded, generalized network where members are competing with tens of millions of professionals from every industry everywhere. And I think Josh, you have you have a lot of experience in the community world and this kind of experience with the the community aspect that you want to share here.
Yeah, no, I think this is where that association, ecosystem, your association career center becomes a real advantage. And I think one of the things that we as we talk about this shift to skill based, right, is, and tying this back to my community days, early in the communities and driven by associations, we saw professional communities move away from things like Facebook and LinkedIn as their primary source of community, right? Building their communities within that, and started moving into these very closed niche systems in order to better serve and to protect their members. We are seeing very much that same thing in career centers, right? We will be based on this idea that we're looking for talented, skill-based employees, right? Associations suddenly become a real a powerful place for people to stand out within that subset. And so a well-built career center profile, keyword rich, skills aligned, updated on a regular basis, right, allows your members to stand out. It's and especially within curated, high value professional community. And so instead of getting lost in this sea of like unrelatable candidates and forcing yourself through an ATS system to a much larger degree, because if you're posting jobs, especially for free on LinkedIn, you're going to get a ton of unrelated applicants, right? Which is a huge lift. And so you're already at a disadvantage by applying there, just due to the amount of other applicants. And so I think it's a great way to stay visible to employers who are specifically targeting talent within niche industries, within a profession for a role. And again, it's the power of the association.
Yeah, Josh and I were talking in preparation for this presentation, and one way to think about this LinkedIn and Facebook and so on is LinkedIn is like shouting in a crowded stadium, but your association's career center, it's more like a networking in an exclusive industry room where you're much more likely to make meaningful targeted connections.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think in both places, we have to start sort of owning this idea of personal SEO, and how that matters, and how we can support members with that. But custom profiles with industry specific keywords that include your impact driven results and your success stories, they suddenly become much more visible and optimized for search. And every platform has a search engine. So we're not just talking about high level Google search. We're talking about existing within each of these ecosystems. So we need to really encourage to keep your career center profiles updated, but also tailored to the audience that they serve, right? Because now we're talking about having a couple of different places, maybe. But again, in some we're speaking to a smaller group, and maybe we don't need to yell quite so loud. And so, there's an opportunity to focus on our actions, our measurable outcomes for those members, and honestly, this helps them better understand their own value, and how to present themselves. And then ultimately, we want to be thinking like that AI filter, right? Things are essentially some sort of, for, data points to a degree. And so we want to try to align the skills that match your next career move, not just job duties, but where you're going in your pathway, and that sort of ties back to that upskilling things, which I really do think will be playing a bigger and bigger role.
Yeah, and I think associations can really help facilitate some of these things for members. So things like offering career profile optimization support for your members, providing articles or checklists for strengthening both the association and other professional profiles, or hosting something like power over your profile webinars with tips to stand out in specialized professional spaces versus generalized networks are all things that we think members could really benefit from.
Yeah, actually, that makes me think of a good idea, which is, sort of launch a power, a profile power up effort. Right? Encourage members on a regular basis to update their career center profiles. Help communicate some of this in terms of how and why, and this can impact both all of their career center profiles, but it's also a great opportunity to open up a little bit of a back and forth. Identify and spotlight some people who are doing a great job of maintaining visibility within the ecosystem. Looking for some of those success stories, which of course are great to push out in blog posts and content and social media, and really sort of support that the outward understanding, that sort of broadcast of success with your internal understanding. All right, hop to the next slide. All right, so just taking that sort of this idea of professional branding a little bit further and just trying to tie it back to what we were saying earlier about the AI search and the matching. Right, so it's not just about what's on the profile, which is certainly important, but also about how we can understand and leverage the AI systems so that they recognize skills, goals, and align them with the opportunities that members want. So again, ultimately, every sort of click, every update, every word searched, they're sending a signal, and most platforms are constantly learning. Picking up on keywords, skills, activity to sort of decide what jobs, what connections to recommend. So, when we're thinking about that as a strategic move in how we leverage AI in order to advance careers, I think that's an important point.
Yeah, and that's why filling out a profile matters so much for your members. First, describe the roles using skills and outcomes, not just job titles. That's something your members should be doing, showing what members have accomplished and what they're capable of in language that matches where they want to go, not just where they are. And second, listing skills that the member wants to be hired for, not just what they've done in the past. And this is a great opportunity to include skills that they've built through relationships, through the relationship with your association, I should say. So like we've talked about, many matching systems today are skills first, not title first. So incorporating those skills that they've developed through learning opportunities, certifications, events that you've put together, that they've attended, that they've benefited from, can really help them build that profile and the resume, of course.
Absolutely. And again, keeping those profiles active and updated is really, really important. And I think it's one of the places we, sometimes fall down on our own things, is like we don't really recognize our small wins, or the little things that we can sort of add and continue to fill out on our profile to continue to grow that sort of keyword relativity, or and stand out to particular employers. So adding recent certifications, new endorsements, like even those smallest of little updates sometimes can really help get members re-ranked or ranking in those matching engines.
It's also it's also worth noting that one big advantage of engaging with your association's career center for members is that the member data lives inside your association systems, and it's often often handled in a very different way than larger commercial sites, larger generalist sites. With your systems, data sharing and recommendations are driven by that shared mission to advance members' careers, rather than some corporate objectives where sometimes data is sold or traded and so on and so forth.
Yeah, and I think that goes back to what we're seeing in sort of in terms of these, career association career centers, or these niche career centers becoming more and more relevant in the job search marketplace, because ultimately, the data is used to share, to forward a shared mission. But yeah, ultimately really helping members shape their profile, like helping them with, offering workshops or toolkits or checklists. That stuff can really, really have a lasting impact. It's these small, consistent changes that train the algorithms to drive better opportunities, and ultimately you as a trusted association ecosystem, right? You have the opportunity to amplify that success. All right, so professional development's always been a key part of an association's value, and today with AI creating all these new tools and new career pathways, I think that role sort of comes into play again and consistently. So again, we've said this before, but you all are uniquely positioned to help guide members through this towards the skills and knowledge that they need ultimately to stay competitive within this new ecoscape. And through your career center, through your learning management system, through your AMS, by sort of thinking of these holistically and collectively, you've got events and professional networks, and looking for the opportunities to connect those pieces, I think really ultimately drives our end goal, and helps members and the association leverage AI in a way that makes sense for organizational and individual goals.
Yeah, that's exactly right. I mean, you can direct members to crowded general learning marketplaces, but your ecosystem already offers a trusted environment and is tailored to the industry and career stages your members care about most. So again, like we've been saying, your association is really uniquely positioned here.
Yeah, I mean, your digital space, right, whether it's through structured learning paths and an LMS, or curated career guides in your career center, or your professional development webinars, you can integrate AI in a way in conversationally and operationally, in a way that helps members understand and stay ahead of changes and transitions that AI will inevitably bring, and in a way that's relevant and strategic and ultimately community driven. So, there's lots of external platforms, Coursera, Udemy, that provide learning opportunities or content, but those should really complement, not replace, the focus, curated, career-aligned learning opportunities associations provide. And so connecting career development and learning, supporting it with automation and AI within your association, right? Leveraging career profiles and career path tools in your online learning and mentoring programs, events. Uh, Not only you don't only help members grow, but you also position the association as an ongoing career partner and an important, progressive, forward-thinking resource to help them continue to grow.
And members are looking for trusted, actionable guidance, not just more options. There's a lot of options out there for them, and your association's ecosystem gives them the clarity and support they can't easily find elsewhere, that's specific to their industry, that so much better than some of these general resources that they would normally go to. And I
Absolutely.
think we have a poll, right, Josh?
Yeah. Yeah. So we would definitely interested to know what types of professional development do you currently offer? Who creates them? Again, it's gonna be a little short answer, short response, but we'll give a few seconds for everybody to respond, and then we'll talk a little bit about what we see. Let's give it a couple extra seconds. It's taking a little longer with shorter some written answers, so just give people a couple of minutes here. Appreciate everybody who's checking in with us. Nicole, you feel free to end the poll when you think it's appropriate. So we just got some answers flowing in. All right. So let me see, take a look at some of these details here. Of course, it makes me sign in.
Naturally, I can help out, Josh, if that makes sense.
Thanks.
Sure. So the first question, what types of professional development benefits do you offer? So a lot of different educational opportunities here, a variety of classes and certs guarantee or geared toward different business functions performed within your industry, continuing education, e-learning, resume or CV reviews, LMS, conferences, partner events, networking opportunities, maybe different webinars, healthcare seminars, assessments and courses. And then in terms of who is creating that, the answers seem to be a lot of in-house staff, education department, as well as the career center, um, in-house team, volunteers, in education, like a dedicated education team in some cases, maybe an education committee, as well as staff there. Um, again, education departments and committees, or a CPE department, and oftentimes the association in general. So a lot of association staff are wearing so many hats. That's something that we just always like to see, or not like to see, but we do see. And so it's no surprise really that this extends to creating those professional development opportunities as well.
Absolutely. And I think, ultimately, you know, I think the sort of the point we're trying to drive home here is you're already doing so much, so there's some opportunity to work this into what you're already doing and to leverage this as new additional insight and supportive help in the pieces that you're already executing. And so I think there's lots of opportunity within your expertise and skill set, which you also see when we talk about how we're segmenting and looking at these sort of skills-based approaches, right? Each of you are producing and developing your own content and certifications and courses because they are segmented and specific to an industry or a role or a purpose, and that really uh, drives it home. So, all right. So we do have to wrap this up, I guess. We get so into talking about all this stuff, but let's try to bring it all together. So hopefully, if you take nothing away from today other than this, it's, currently like AI is already shaping careers, associations that lean into it and really sort of bring those tools to the forefront, both in sort of the educating of their members, but also in their own digital ecoscapes will help drive that next chapter of member success. Members are looking for modern tools and your trusted guidance. So they're facing a fast-paced, moving job market, transitions. Helping them along this pathway, it doesn't just create goodwill; it creates long-lasting loyalty and ultimately retention. And then, of course, there's opportunity always for our career services to evolve. You probably already have AI within your ecosystem. If you're not using it, look for opportunities to utilize it by leveraging tools like the matching or the resume optimization, interview tools. Like you really can help transform your traditional career services into a more dynamic experience. Oh, sorry, did I skip ahead of a slide? Oh, all right, so yeah. uh, Sorry, yeah. So I skipped this one, but right, just so connecting a few dots again. The real opportunity is not just about adding AI tools. It's really about sort of creating a smarter, more supportive ecosystem for members.
Yeah, and you want to think about layering AI into your career services, not just to modernize it, but to actually guide members forward. And some of the tools we talked about, like AI powered job matching, resume optimization, interview coaching, can all make your career center a true career development hub rather than just a job board.
Yeah. So why don't we hop away? I know we're running out of time, so why don't we just grab any questions if we can? Um, Nicole, I don't know if there's ones.
I saw
Yeah.
one.
Yeah, go ahead,
Um,
Alexander.
yeah, so maybe I'll grab the first one I saw, and you can look for the other ones so we can cover as many as we can. There was a question about the question is there a standard AI platform being integrated into online career center sites, or is each company using proprietary technology? So what each career center platform is doing with respect to AI, I think is using these different systems and technologies that are available. So there's several different competitors. Most people have heard of ChatGPT, and that's the one that most people think about when they think about AI. But there's a lot of other competitors like from Google, Microsoft, and there's a bunch of other startups that are not far behind, if not sometimes farther along than ChatGPT is. And it's kind of a lot of them do a lot of the same things. A lot of them are very, very good. It's kind of like choosing the right tool for the right job, and part of it is preference. It's like some people use Android, some people use iPhone. One is better for certain tasks, one is better for other tasks. And so what I mean, I can't speak for other companies, but what we do at WebScribble is we typically use more than one system, because some large language models are better to use for certain tasks than others. And so we choose the LLM based on based on its application. Nicole, maybe you can tee up the next one. I'm scrolling through here.
Yeah,
Yep.
here's go ahead, Nicole.
Yeah, so that was David's question. And then I believe we have another one that is, what tips do you have for how to measure member satisfaction when integrating AI into an association's lineup of offerings for its members?
Something as simple as a member survey can work really well. If you introduce one of these tools, sending out a satisfaction survey and getting feedback on what is and isn't working can be pretty helpful and a simple way to do it.
And I think too, and back to the idea of member survey, asking before we implement certain things, and getting some temperature gauge from members as the problems that they are running into definitely helps figure out what the right tools are in the right direction.
And last but not least, just obviously this is a topic and an issue as well as opportunity that's been evolving so quickly. What tips do you have to create a sense of urgency among staff and leaders to invest that time and energy into really adopting AI?
It's a great question. It's one we struggle with at Web School internally. I'm definitely very much a proponent and driver of AI, and so I don't have the perfect answer, but I can share what we are doing, which is doing internal education with our employees on how to use AI, and then showing them what the benefits are. And the benefits typically are a massive savings in time on tasks that maybe traditionally took a much longer time. Um, and that's been well, still in the process, but it's been a way to kind of convince them that, you know, this is technology worth embracing, um, and if they see the benefits of these tools in real time through training, the light bulb goes off, and they start to use them more and more. Because the more you use these tools, the better you get at them, and it is a skill you have to develop, and the more you get out of them. And so, like, I personally use these like ChatGPT and other tools all day long, definitely every day, but many times a day, and it saves me just a really massive amount of time doing things.
Yeah, I think ultimately, I think it comes down to resources and communication, right? Like having some resources that support the talking points, and then communicating those talking points and sharing those resources out on a regular basis. It takes more than one email to make a move. Awesome. Thank you, everybody, so much. Appreciate your time and all the questions, and sorry for running over a little bit. Hopefully we didn't make you late for anything. Appreciate it.
Thanks, everyone.